Hello everyone. So it's a beginning of a new era as far as the study abroad is concerned. This is the first official podcast of our series where we would want all of you to become most informed people as far as the study abroad and the entire process is concerned. And beyond all this, we want you to become most inspired because we will be having some of the most fascinating guests in our room in our hopefully eternal series of podcast. There was a boy who was fascinated by a very popular web series Suits, and he imagined in his childhood while watching those incredibly smart people in that series that someday I wish I could work in similar settings in the New York City. Well, 10, 12 years have passed and his dream is about to come true, or it has come to a fruition, or it has become a reality. Welcoming our first guest in the series of Study Abroad podcast, Mr. Samarth Jain. Yes. Samarth, thank you so much
Thank you so much,
for
sir, for
joining
inviting.
in. Of course, it would now remain my favorite introductions, right? So we are starting this podcast series, and because podcasts are everywhere now,
Yeah.
though we started it 10 years back, but in the official, settings, we're doing it in the first. So we're proud that we're having you as our first guest.
Yep.
And uh, uh, the way we have seen you over the years, and we were trying to understand your journey of studying abroad, I think to start with, we want to know a little bit about your background, and a little introduction of your would really help our audience, and it will set them up for the next interview or the coming interview.
All right. So my name is Samarth. I go by Sam now since I'm in America. It's like
Sam. Now they call
Sam
you
now.
Sam.
Yeah. Most of the people call me Sam, and I chose that name because it's like easy for people to
Yeah.
remember. So yeah, I grew up in Indore. I was born in Bhopal, and I did my entire schooling in Indore. I was initially in DPS, and then I went to Emerald Heights. And when I was a kid, as Sir said, I used to watch a lot of TV series, my favorite Suits, and I also used to be a tennis player. So until my grade 10th, I used to play tennis very seriously. And I was really interested into computer science and business off and off. I come from a middle class family here in Indore, and it was always a dream for me to go abroad to, study in somewhere near New York and study business, study computer science. And I was lucky to get into a really good program called Jerome Fisher Program in Management and Technology, where I've been pursuing a dual degree in computer science and business, majorly focusing on business now since I want to work in finance as an investment analyst, and I see myself doing that in the coming years. So, yeah, so I'm studying in Wharton, concentrating in finance, and yeah, enjoying my time in US.
Wow. So you're saying it very lightly, but let me tell you,
Yeah.
but let me tell you, guys. He said U Penn, he said Wharton, he said Jerome Fisher, and so I think you all. I would need all of you next 10, 15 minutes to really make you realize how the journey was, right? So, Samarth, I mean, study abroad, right? I mean, you were. I know you were academically a good student, but why study abroad? Because everybody would go for JEE of somebody who
Yeah.
is as good as academic,
Yeah.
caliber as yours.
Yeah.
But why you did not went for JEE and studying abroad?
Yeah. I think one of the main things which I found here in India was that if you go to a college, you're either focusing on engineering, or if you go to a business school, you're doing a bachelor's, BA, or as you call BCom. And I didn't really find opportunities where you could do both together.
Ah.
And I think that was one of the main reasons why I looked for programs where I could do both.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, secondly, as a young kid, I always had this obsession of going abroad. I was very much into this, whole tech scene. I would see these startups going off for billions of dollars. You know, people not much older than me, starting these amazing startups in Silicon Valley.
True.
And I thought that if I got that education, if I got those opportunities, I think I might be the next one. And yeah, so all of these amazing people, I was really inspired by Elon Musk, and since he studied at Penn, I think
Oh,
it bolstered
did
my,
he? Okay.
yeah, he did a dual degree in physics and economics. So
Fantastic.
I think it bolstered my, ambition to going into Penn. So yeah, I applied early decision to Penn. I was very lucky to get in. I had amazing mentors like you, people from my school, amazing faculty members, and most importantly, my parents. I think
Absolutely.
in this whole journey, right from the starting, my parents have been very supportive, which is sort of getting to become a norm now that parents are supporting kids. But I've seen a few of my friends where they didn't get as much support from their parents, and I feel very lucky. And I think that throughout my process, especially my dad had been like very helpful
Yeah.
whenever I would
He
write
was
my
a rock
essays.
solid
Yeah.
support.
So yeah, so I think all in all, my journey of applying to colleges, it was rigorous. But I find myself lucky to be in the pool who gets selected for ED.
Yeah.
So you don't have to apply to a lot of colleges. Um, but yeah, as it comes that why I decided to go study abroad, these were the two, three main points. First of all, just fascination of going abroad,
You're abroad, yeah.
exploring more. Uh, the more logical reasons are like exploring, this interdisciplinary approach towards studies, which is quite difficult to find in India. I think there are colleges now which are, going in that direction. But
They've started, yes.
yeah,
I think one key takeaway is very less number of programs, even in United States, where
yeah,
you see the amalgamation of management and technology.
yeah,
For example, either you call them management, science and engineering, or engineering management.
yeah,
So I think we as a country is still far away where we see the amalgamation.
yeah,
Either we are binary computer science or pure management.
yeah,
So I think that, and then you got that kind of program at Penn.
yeah. Yeah, I think it was, I found it to be a perfect fit. And I think in this whole college process, we use this word fit a lot. And and I think I, throughout my journey in school and everything, my all my activities also demonstrated like a unique interest in entrepreneurship and technology. Maybe it was, I was doing research into computer science, or I was, helping my friend who started a startup, doing some stuff with him. And all of these activities were also inclined towards a mix of both. And I always used to start my essays that MNT would be a dream program since it would help me nourish two inextricable aspects of my mind. One is inclined towards technology, other is inclined towards management. And what I see myself doing in the coming years is either do tech investments or healthcare investments, which are like a perfect combination where you get to implement your technical skills in analyzing companies and knowing, okay, this might be a hero product in the coming years, and then using your finance knowledge to value them correctly and put money in them.
Yes.
So yeah,
I mean it's been 3 years
yeah,
now for you at Penn, and I saw you in your high school and now. So I think that's the power of a top school where it completely transforms you as an individual. And 3 years, it's a total shift in terms of your career trajectory,
yeah,
in terms of your perspective of life and career.
yeah,
So I think I really love that aspect of yours, the way I'm witnessing right now. I think just tell me in brief that you made it to Penn, you made it in ED early deadline, and the biggest thing is you made it with 100% scholarship. It was a full ride.
yeah,
It's an absolute dream scenario, and all your hard work, you totally deserved it. But if somebody wants to attain similar results, right? I know it's not going to be easy for anyone. Let's say what few, five, six factors or few factors that would be non-negotiable
Yeah.
in the application.
Yeah. I think one non-negotiable aspect which I talk about a lot is SAT. I think now
SAT,
SAT. I think now since SAT has become optional,
optional.
especially because of COVID and everything, I find students applying SAT optional to a lot of these top colleges. I find it hard that you would get in if you're an international student, uh, because SAT is like one of the benchmark academics, So I feel like for a top school, getting a score above 1500, 1550 is a really good indicator
Good.
of at least your thinking skills. And then whichever board you're pursuing, I studied in CBSE. People here study for Cambridge or whatever. I think you should be top 10 of your class,
All right.
or for CBSE attain good results in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th,
Okay.
which is like above 90%, preferably above 95, depending on what kind of field you're going for.
All right.
Since I was going for like very technical aspects, computer science and all of these things, it's like academics do matter a lot. And like in your initial rounds of when a decision maker is sitting, okay, should I give this kid a chance, his or her first things to see would be, okay, does he does he has a threshold amount of SAT score, does he has a threshold amount of academics, and then a few good tier 1 activities. um, it can be a mix of academics, sports. I think what worked for me was a mix of both of these things. I think my top three would be: one, I was involved in a startup, in a tech startup, with a few of my seniors. Second was I was doing research in computer science, and third would be tennis. There were a lot of other things, like I was also involved with an NGO. Then my school had this really big round square conference, which I was, a part of. So I think a mix of all of these things,
Activities.
all of these activities, along with really good essays. I think
Okay.
essays is something which is kind of underestimated, or or a part of the process which people think it's going to take 10 days
No.
at the end of it, or your counselor will write it for you. It's not going to happen that way. I think a lot of people would make these initial cuts, especially going from India. All of these people applying to top schools will have insane academics, insane SAT scores. Some of them will even have perfect SAT scores, and they will have good activities. And activities is something which is like a very subjective play. Something which is important for me might not be important for you. It depends on how much time I have devoted on it, and that's why if you see on Common App, when you write activities, they specifically ask you how many hours in a week. So
Correct.
it's a very subjective aspect. Once you make through all these three things, then comes the essays, and I think essays are really important. Um, I think essays have to be a mix of you bragging about yourself,
Sure.
and you also being humble enough to not only show them all of these external things, but something which is dear and close to your heart. Like if I talk about my Common App essay, it had nothing to do with my academics or computer science or management. It was about how I used to go at 5:30 in the morning to
Yeah.
my school to play tennis.
Yeah.
And
The broken shoe.
yeah, and like it was all about my relationship
Personal
with,
journey.
yeah, with my dad, with tennis, and how it has shaped me as a person. And I think, I don't know why they chose me, but I think this might have been a differentiating factor. So yeah.
Great. So I think it's a very important point which Samarth raises, where though SAT is optional, but for international students, they should take it very seriously.
Yeah.
Consider as a part of profile, even if it's optional, consider as a part of profile and try to score as good as possible.
Yeah.
Great. So, cut to you are at UPenn now, suddenly, and you think that, how are the people at Penn and Ivy League? People say, the smartest people reach. Of course, you've been there. So, what UPenn is all about.
Yeah. I think something unique about UPenn as an IV is it's called a social IV. It's they have a very
Social
interdisciplinary
Ivy.
social IV. It has very strong academics,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it has a really good social life, s- you know, in terms of having clubs or having fraternity. I'm a part of a fraternity. I'm part of Greek life. When I went from here, I never thought that I would be, part of a fraternity,
Uh-huh.
or I would go to parties or do stuff like this,
Uh-huh.
because there's like a taboo, that, oh, you're going to drink, you're going to do this and that.
Uh-huh.
And I think when I went there, I saw that this whole social scene is much more advanced than what we see here in India.
Wow.
This whole aspect of Greek life, or having all these clubs. Now I'm part of a lot of clubs. Uh, I am president for a club called Hindu Jain Association, which is the biggest Indian club at Penn. So we do Holi, Garba, Diwali. We celebrate it much better than I've actually celebrated ever in India.
Wow.
So like in March we will have Holi,
Uh-huh.
and we will have around 800 people showing up to a really big park, and we are all playing with colors, no water, and we are the one organizing it. So I
Wow.
feel like all of these aspects make Penn very, very unique in terms of any other college which is just academically inclined. And of course, people are very smart and people are very focused. And I think they are very they are very open to new ideas,
Hmm.
which is something really good about US. That like if you talk about me, I went there initially thinking about, okay, I would be a software developer or do some role in product management, and now suddenly I want to go into core finance and work in New York. And I have seen a lot of my friends shift their degrees, shift their core concentrations for good. I'm not saying that they got diverted. I think they explored more and found something which they actually loved.
Mm-hmm.
So I think these are two good things about Penn. It is one, very interdisciplinary in terms of academics and your studies and concentrations,
Mm-hmm.
and two, that it gives a good mixture of socials and academics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a broader question, why US was your choice? Not because a lot of students go to UK as
Yeah.
well. So why not UK or any other Australia, these popular study abroad
Yeah.
countries? Why did you choose US predominantly?
Um, I think first thing would be that there was more guidance for US. I could see that there was a set system,
Mm-hmm.
counselors and mentors like you, I think, knew more about US than any other country because more kids have been there.
Correct.
Also, if you if I say my parents I want to go to UK or US or some other country, they would be like, okay, we have some family in US, we have some familiarity with the country, so
Correct.
let's go there. Also, I thought that there were more scholarship opportunities.
That's probably a
Yeah,
very big
yeah,
differentiating factor.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think UK also has some scholarship opportunities, but not as much. Uh, I come from a very humble family, so no way I could have afforded the fees for Penn. I think the total cost of attendance comes down to $85,000 to $90,000 a
Yeah.
year.
So just sorry to interrupt. $90,000 annually,
Yeah,
and you're fully funded. So,
yeah,
quantum of total contribution from UPenn toward your education is close to 3 CR
3 CR INR. Yeah,
INR.
it's like,
Amazing.
yeah, it's 360K in the span of 4 years.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's I'm very fortunate to get that. I think hard work and everything kept aside, everyone comes with their own luck,
Yeah.
and I think it would be wrong to say that I was the best applicant who applied. I think there might be like 10 more kids with same stats, with same everything, but that specific day the admission officer chose me over the others. So I'm really lucky to get this,
Yeah.
because if it would have not been the 100% scholarship, it would have been very tough for my family to finance it.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I would have gone to take a loan or something like that, which is also a tough financial arrangement in terms of
True.
you have to repay it after 4 years and all of this, and it after 4 years, when I start a fresher job, it's going to eat up my savings. So
Correct. It's the best case scenario.
it's a
Yeah.
best case scenario. And one more thing was that Penn is need aware for international students.
Mm-hmm.
So if you apply for financial aid in need aware colleges, the bets are against you. If there's one more applicant with same stats and
He
he or
doesn't
she is,
require aid. He would
yeah,
be preferred
he
for
would be
sure.
preferred for
It's a
sure.
capitalistic
Yeah,
society.
and
Yeah.
I think there are 5 colleges in United States which are need
Aware.
blind
Yeah.
for international
Need blind.
kids.
Yes.
I know 2 of them are Harvard and Amherst. I don't know the other 3, but I think everything worked out in a magical way. So I would say everyone to take their chances. And if you need
Yeah.
financial aid, definitely
That's
apply
the
for
key
it.
line.
Yeah,
I know it's difficult, it's
yeah,
unpredictable, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to take your chances.
definitely.
So, Ivy League, right? It's a very popular term, right? And I think some students don't look beyond, Ivies when they, think about studying abroad or
Yeah,
specifically for USA.
yeah.
So you know the best. You are in one of the Ivies. I mean, if I go to other school, let's say maybe NYU, maybe UMich, maybe BU, I mean, what is amount of advantage that you will get and these guys won't? Is there something that you want to tell us on that?
Um, I think Ivy League is just a consortium of 8 schools who play together. So it's not really about academics. It's about
That's
sports.
it is just a
Yeah,
a sports thing primarily.
it's a sports league, but it came out throughout the years that these colleges, ranked top in US.
Yeah.
But if you see, there are so many colleges, Stanford, MIT, they both are not Ivy Leagues. If you they're amazing colleges. They're
UCLA,
dream.
Berkeley.
Yeah, UC, Berkeley's, So I wouldn't say that if you don't go to this Ivy League or even top 20, you would be at disadvantage at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can name 30 or 40 amazing colleges in US
Wow.
which are at par with all of these Ivy Leagues, which provide amazing education. And I think a lot of it depends on what you want to pursue. I think if you talk about business, of course, Wharton is really good. Some other colleges which are really amazing is Columbia, Harvard. But I think it really depends on your major. So if you see in terms of ranking, uh, not even one Ivy League makes in top 5 for computer science.
Correct.
It's
Yes.
all, other colleges.
Harvard is around 20s,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and I think Penn is even farther. So we are on 16. So if you look in that aspect, if you're going for CS, I would say if you go to Carnegie Mellon, you're probably the best
Number
college.
one.
You know, Carnegie Mellon, MIT, even colleges like UIUC, which might be ranking worse in terms of general ranking, they have an amazing computer science department, much better than any of the Ivies. So I would say that specifically for the major you're going, you should, choose your college, and maybe an Ivy League is not a fit for you because all the Ivy Leagues are very big. Their student bodies are big, and I studied in a school where there were like 6,000, 7,000 kids. So I studied in this setting where there are a lot of kids, but maybe you don't like that. Maybe you want
Smaller class size.
smaller staff to student ratio, smaller class size, which is completely understandable, and maybe you shine in environment like that, and then maybe a smaller college, which is not Ivy League, is much better for you uh, than a bigger college. Bigger college has its own advantage and its own disadvantage, because now I'm not the only one in Wharton. There are other 800 kids.
Kids, yes, yes,
So
yes.
when you apply, you are not only competing with the people outside, you're also competing with the
Your
people who are
peers at
applying.
Ivy, yeah.
So if you go to a smaller college and a company has to take 2 kids from your college, you're better off at a position. So I think that's why the word fit is very important.
Important.
So you should research a lot about any college. Uh, I think I researched so much, even when I was, kind of inclined towards Penn, and I catered my whole application and whole story to fit the program I was applying for.
Cool.
I think I researched a lot. Of course, you and everyone, helped me a lot, and I think that's one good thing of having a counselor, that even if they don't help you in anything else,
Yeah.
they will tell you that okay,
At least
this
some help
college,
is
yeah,
justified. I know.
yeah, but like no, help is definitely justified,
Yeah.
but I think a counselor is definitely needed for telling you the right colleges and guiding you in the right path. I think thinking that the counselor will do everything for you
No.
is a wrong mentality. They're just like chariots. They will just tell you a little bit here and there, some more involved, but all of the hard work has to come from your side. All of the essays have to come from your side.
True.
They will just fine touch it. You have to make an essay an 8 out of 10. Your counselor can make it a 10 out of 10, but that 8 has to come from your side. Your
Brilliant.
story has to come from your side.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So 3 years at UPenn, what's the outcome? I think you will be finishing early.
Yeah, I might finish early, might
Okay.
not. It
Okay.
depends on if my employer gives me a return offer faster.
Okay.
I think it has been a very good journey, and good in the sense that academically it has been amazing. I think I have got really good knowledge in the terms of finance and computer science, but I think it has also been life transforming, especially for undergrad, since when I went to States, I was 17 years old. So
17?
I was still a
Not
kid.
even a
Yeah,
major.
and I'm still 20. So I think these 3 years are very crucial, and I got to spend it in the most diverse place. You know, I think diversity is one thing which has played a huge aspect. When I first went, I saw people from all of the countries, and I was a little shy boy from India. I was hesitant to reach out, make friends, and I think now I can do much better in a social setting. So that is one of the aspects. I think I've seen a lot of growth personally in terms of handling tough situations, handling a lot of things which are unexpected. Because when you are in school, everything is spoon fed. You go with a bus to your school. You know what's going to be on the exams. The teacher will tell you what are the important questions. You prepare. You go. You give the exams. So everything is very set. And once I went to States, my mom and dad were not there. New set of friends, and of course you have to do everything by yourself. So right from cleaning your own dishes, making your own food,
Becoming self-dependent.
yeah, becoming
Yeah.
self-dependent, to filing your own taxes,
Ah,
which is
okay.
which is a very adult job, in terms, like, I would see my dad saying, "Oh, I have to file my taxes," and I'm like, "That's a big job," and now I have to do it for myself, without any help, because your parents would only have limited information about states, and most of the times it was me telling them rather than them telling me. So yeah, so I think I've become much more self-dependent in comparison to if I would have stayed in India, because whenever you're in India, you're not going to be far away from your home, and
Yeah,
that
always a
feeling,
flight away,
yeah,
small, 2 hours flight.
yeah, and um, if you're in States, you get that feeling that you're seven seas apart, right? So you have to adjust in that way.
Great. How mom handled, this distance? How the parents handle the
Yeah.
distance? You're so far, and
I think I would give a lot of kudos to my mom.
okay.
I think a dad can still send his son abroad
Yeah, that's what I asked.
and sleep at night, but I think my mom didn't sleep at all for the initial 5 days
Oh God.
when I went, and she used to be like, "Have you reached? Have you eaten food?" And I think she was very brave to handle all of this. Um, but I would say that I was lucky enough to have parents who understood that if they wanted, they could have said a no any time in this whole journey. But they were very supportive. And I think it was because me and my parents, we had a mutual understanding of what our needs are. First of all, in terms of financial needs, I understood what my parents could afford, and I was only looking for schools where I think I could go in that price range. And it was even better, I went there without any financial need from my family. Um, Secondly, it's like constant communication with family. Um, I think since I used to play tennis, I used to tour around, go for tournaments, and because every day I used to come back from my school to home at 8 at night. I think maybe that might not have improved my tennis that much, but it made me accustomed to the fact that you're not at home, and you are like outside in a university, in a school, and you have to do all the things by your own. So yeah, unfortunately, I lost my dad
So
a
sorry to
year
hear that.
ago. So I think it was immensely hard to, grasp that that is no more, and especially because the incident happened so that I was giving my parents a surprise, and when I was in flight, my father passed away. So when I
Oh,
came back home, he was no more there, and so it was like very traumatic. And if someone asks me now if I know someone who is the bravest, I would say it's my
your mom.
mom, because I just came for like 15 days, and when I was in flight, you know, my dad was no more there, and after 15 days, I have to fly back, and my mom came to say me bye on the airport, and knowing that I will go away and she has to go back to her home with just my younger brother and no dad, I think it is amazing that she could do that. So yeah, it's tough, but I think it's part of life that you have to embrace. Yeah.
Wow. So I think, I mean, I would give a lot of kudos to you also. Your mom being the
Yeah.
bravest, but you being the elder son,
Yeah.
you also had such a responsibility to take care of all three of you together.
Yeah.
So God bless. So now, I mean, tell me about professional opportunities. Like, have you been interning at some place, or would you be interning? And
Yeah.
because of course internship is a norm in states,
Yeah.
whether you're doing masters or undergrad.
Yeah. So after my freshman, this summer, I did a job at Penn itself.
Uh-huh.
I was as a residential staff member. After my sophomore summer, I did an internship at a fintech company.
Mm-hmm.
It was fintech based on client and hospital payments.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really insightful. I think fintech is a very growing market,
Right.
and specifically in US, it's like very organized, and in India also it's like a very booming industry.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to intern at a fintech company. It was called iCreditWorks. Right now I have completed one semester of my junior year. One more semester is left, but I already got recruited for my junior year internship, which is going to be at a growth equity company in New York. The
Okay.
company is called General Atlantic. Um, I think again I was really lucky to have this opportunity interning at GA. It's one of the best GE shops. So growth equity is basically between venture capital and private equity.
Okay.
Venture capital would invest money in very early stage companies, so it would be pre-seed, seed, or Series A at
Mm-hmm.
max. And private equity would take over even bigger companies who have stable cash flows, and sometimes even take companies which are public private. So we
Okay.
are talking about deals upwards of 10, $15 billion. We stand in the middle. We
Okay.
invest Series C, Series D. So
Okay.
companies who have revenue, have shown paths to profitability, but are not yet that big. And
Okay.
we see insane growth in terms of revenue. We might see 30 to 35% growth, and writing checks around 300 million to $1 billion. So in terms of professional opportunities, I think there's a very big push from the university side and from the whole environment that you have to do an internship,
Mm-hmm.
and doing a junior internship is a must because
Junior internship.
yeah,
That's between your second and third year.
that's between third and fourth year.
Third and fourth year.
So
Okay.
after your junior year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it is so because most of the times, at least in finance, it happens that you will get a return offer from your junior internship to your full-time role, or you will do your full-time in the similar industry as you did your junior internship. So if I talk about finance, there are mainly buy and sell side. So on the sell
Yeah.
side, you will have investment banking, and on the buy side, you have private equity, growth equity, and VCs. Uh, all of these buy and sell side companies, finance recruitment happens very early. So I got my offer last year, May. So that's 1 year, a whole 1 year prior to my internship.
Wow.
So recruitment starts 1.5 years before when your actual period starts. For tech roles, for SWE roles, it's a little bit later. It's 6 months before. So for junior year internship, you will be recruiting right now. I think one thing which is different from India to US is that in India, companies come to campus, there's like mass recruitment, You will get interviewed on the campus, and they will pick students up. I think in US you externally apply most of the times.
Most of the times,
Yeah,
yes.
companies do come, but it's not like India. It's not going to be like, oh, you 50 people are sitting here, the company will come, take interviews, give you package right on. It's a very big process. You will have 3 to 7 rounds of interviews. For finance, you might even have like 4 to 5 rounds of very gruesome interviews with people at all the levels. You will start with an associate, going to a VP, a partner, and then an MD taking your interview. Even if it's for an internship, there's a very, at least for finance, there's a very heavy referral system. So if you can get a referral from someone in the company, it becomes a little bit easier to get to the initial round of interviews. Same for tech as well. So it's very important that you network for finance, consulting. Consulting is also like really big in US. So yeah, so something which are different is referrals are a must. You should get a referral. It makes process easier. Second is applying externally, and third is like preparing for each and every company separately, researching about how their whole interview process goes about, and then doing specific things. Some companies will have a very technical interview, others might not. So yeah.
What's your like typical day at Penn?
At Penn, I think it varies a lot semester to semester, since it depends on what classes I'm taking. But I would usually get up at around 9 or 10, go to my classes at 10.
Morning, right?
Morning,
10, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And my classes would end at around like 3,
3.
4. In between, I would get lunch with friends, something like that. I think after 3 or 4, it's like so unpredictable. If I have a meeting for my club or something, I would go for that. Or some days I would just come back to my room, go to the gym. I think there was never a day where I found myself, completely free. I could
Okay.
always plan something. If I didn't have something, I can go out with my friends. I think being in a fraternity helped, because so fraternity, for people who don't know, basically is like a house where, so fraternity is for boys, sorority is for girls.
Okay.
So fraternity, it's a house, it's a
It's a
chapter.
boys' club.
It's a boys' club,
Okay.
but it has a lot of history to itself.
Okay.
Like my frat was started around 200 years ago, and
Wow.
every year they recruit 10 to 12 people, and everyone lives in the house. So I will be living in the house next year if I come back and don't complete my degree. Um, but yeah, the house was always there. I would go, hang out with the brothers. The brothers are the people who are members of the fraternity. So yeah, I think it was a good social scene, and I tried to get gym in every here and there, and tried to play tennis sometime. But this whole schedule would get messed up when exams come, because then exam is directing my schedule. My schedule is nothing, so I would pull all nighters, do anything, as the exam come nearby. But I think a good thing about US is that you won't have a lot of classes in general.
But a lot of assignments.
Lot of assignments. Not all of your grade will be, reliant on a final exam, as it happens in India. Which was quite a shocking thing, because I was very accustomed to just studying 3 days before the exam, and the exam goes well and I'm done.
Done,
Now
yeah.
I can't do that. I have to be like very engaged with the subject material all throughout. You will have a lot of assignments. You will have 3 midterms and then a final. So it's a good thing in the fact that if you mess up your final, your whole grade won't go away, as it
Great.
happens right now.
Can always rescue that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think grading is also subjective in the fact that if the professor is seeing you showing up in the class every day, uh, they will make sure to help you. So that is something which is very different from India. Your whole grade depends on a final exam. In US, it's not like that. It's like a class is a whole journey, and you get graded on that whole journey. And if you actually learned from that, even if you didn't do good in a few of your assignments, your grade won't be messed up. And on the
Wow.
contrary, if you didn't go to classes, you didn't do the assignments, but just did good in one final, you won't get a good grade. So it goes both the ways.
So there is a trade-off to it.
Yeah, there's a trade-off.
So I mean, what's your message to students who are thinking of studying abroad, but either financial barriers are there, parents' mental barriers are there, or anybody who wants to study abroad, what's your message is going to be?
Yeah. Uh, I think my message would be that definitely explore this. It might not be the case that it works out for you, but I think it's an opportunity worth taking a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can address each issue. First of all, financial barrier. I think I had that, and the only work around that is getting a good financial aid. Um, Apply to a lot of colleges. I learned this from a book, the salesman mentality, that a salesman goes to 100 doors, and even if one person buys $100 product,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot think that that house gave you $100. Each
Mm.
and every house gave you $1
Yep,
each.
yep,
So
yep.
each and every scholarship application you put in, each and every college application you're putting in, each and every scholarship application is putting some money in your pocket,
True.
because one of that college will give you your dream scholarship, and then
Very
you can
rightly put.
divide it by 20 or 30 or whatever applications you did. So that is one mentality which you need to go through, that apply to a lot of schools. It's kind of expensive applying to states, because each and every application will take 6 to 7,000 INR. But if you think about the return on investments,
Oh,
when I applied to Penn, the application fees was $120, but then
yes.
I got a really good scholarship. So each and every you should apply.
You should
I
apply.
think you will end up at least investing 1 to 2 lakh in this
True.
whole process.
True.
You would be lucky if you get into ED, then you only need to do one. But so one other thing is also choosing your ED very, very smartly. Like,
Hmm.
don't be insanely ambitious, but also don't under
Yeah, underplay.
underestimate yourself,
So don't
because
waste your ED and
yeah,
neither underplay.
yeah, because if you underplay, you would regret. Now you have to go to this college. It's
Yeah,
binding. You'd
binding.
be like, oh, I could have done this. So it's an ambitious college, but play it in a very nice way. I think ED is the best way to get into the college.
Mm-hmm.
It has higher acceptance rate than RD, and you get out of this whole process earlier.
Early.
And
You're so relaxed on
yeah,
16th of or 15th of
yeah,
December.
yeah, and the best scholarship goes to people in ED, at
Yeah,
least for international
true.
students, because it's a funding pool. If they give out, if they have an allocation for India, they have this much money, and they give out to someone, you will be disadvantaged during RD. So this whole game is about being very calculated,
Hmm.
and not being very emotionally attached to one college. I think I also made this mistake, and I sometimes feel, okay, what if on 16th
I
of
totally
yeah,
relate to that
yeah,
because a lot of kids they just associate themselves with one university
yeah,
so emotionally that if that goes for a reject, they lose the enthusiasm
yeah,
for the
that's
entire
true.
process.
Yeah.
True, very true.
Yeah, I think I also made that mistake, but it somehow worked well.
Yeah,
And sometimes I think if on 16th of December,
it
if the,
didn't.
it didn't go through, I would have been very, very heartbroken.
Yes.
So let's not do that.
Yeah.
And but it's easier said than done. Of course, you get if you invest so much time into something, you get emotionally invested into it. But this whole thing is a process, and make your list in a way that you know that you will get into some college, which is your safety. I think a counselor, for me, I think you gave me a really good idea that if nothing, you will get into this with this much scholarship, and it's a safe bet to play on. So always have safe bets in your list. You should have you should have reach colleges, dream
The
colleges,
same
the safe colleges.
moderate safe,
Yeah,
super safe, ambitious,
yeah,
long shots.
and all of these moderate colleges which you're looking at, they're also amazingly good.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you
you,
for these words. I
yeah,
mean, students don't realize
yeah.
honestly.
Like it's not just that, oh, okay, you didn't go to an Ivy League or top 20, that going to US is not worth it. Going to US is completely worth it, even
Okay.
if you're going to top 100, 200 or 300 college, because each and every college is unique in its own sense, and there are a lot of colleges which might not rank very high, maybe crossing 100, but like they have insane placements, they have really good campus, and you will have an amazing life there. So all in all, it's a process, and you will come out of it with something, and you can just hope that that something is what you are aspiring for. And sometimes, even if you don't get into the college you want to, a lot of my friends ED'd at some colleges, and later they went to some other college, and they're enjoying it so much that they're happy that they didn't get into their ED colleges.
Happens this way.
Yeah, so God has its own way of telling you what is best for you. You just need to, do your action, and you just need to, apply as many places as you can, and always take help. I think it's a journey which is more complicated than, you can imagine, and always take help, but do not take anyone's words so seriously that you get discouraged applying to somewhere, or you get discouraged by making a decision. And I'm saying this applies to everyone, even if someone is very, 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 knowledgeable about this thing, their words might come out and discourage you.
True.
And I've seen, people doing that. They will talk to a student in that college where they want to go, and that student had a stellar profile, and they tell them, oh, I had this much SAT score, this much this and that. They think, okay, I'm nowhere comparative to this, so I won't apply. Like, it's not like that.
Not like
it's very subjective. If they only had to take you for all of your academics, and it was a very objective process, they would tell it to you on the website that if you don't have this much, don't apply. But they don't do that, because they also take consideration into a lot of things. So keep applying, and keep working hard, and just chill out.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samarth,
Thank you so
for
much, sir.
all your words of wisdom and the way you have narrated your entire journey and learning to all of us. I think it will be super inspiring. We are so
Thank you so
proud
much.
of you, and
Yeah.
we wish you all the best for coming future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
सो एवरीवन, आप सब लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि ये आरडी और ईडी हम लोग क्या बातें कर रहे थे। तो एप्लीकेशंस के बहुत सारे फंडे होते हैं, अर्ली डेडलाइन, अर्ली एक्शन एंड रेगुलर डेडलाइन, ये सारी बात की बातें हैं। बट जो आज आपने देखा वो ये स्टडी अब्रॉड का एक बहुत सक्सेसफुल एग्जांपल, समर से हमने बात करी, और आप सब समर जैसी सक्सेस अचीव कर सकते हैं। And that is one of the core reasons why we're doing, these study abroad postcard, because इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, रील्स एंड टिकटॉक और ये सब आपको इतना सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है, उसमें से कितना सब्सटेंशियल है, कितना कंटेंट में सब्सटेंस है, वो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है हमको समझना और अकॉर्डिंगली एक्शन लेना. So thank you for watching this podcast, and stay tuned for the next ones. Thank you.